So watch this. Elon Musk spends $277 million to back Trump and Republican candidates. Realistically, one could say that's 50 times more, right? 55 times more. So again, for me, I really want to know.
You're ignoring the concept of influence and how long AIPAC has been around.
I don't think it's the right number you're pulling up, because I think, Rob, they spent
on PACs
$25 million to get rid of Bowman. So that's why I don't think that's the right number.
In this video, Oliver Stone educates Patrick Bet-David on his own show over Israel's influence on US politics, how much power lobbying groups like the AIPAC actually have, and whether Americans' foreign policy is really its own or if it's just being pulled by outside forces. And listen, Patrick Bet-David does his usual thing where he challenges guests like Oliver and Sean every step of the way, questioning the money, the power, and the history behind all of it. But honestly, I think he really slips up on a lot of his points here in this debate, and it really goes to show. So make sure to stick around till the end to see how Oliver Stone educates Patrick Bet-David on his own show.
So here's I trust my enemies very well. By the way, I trust my enemies more than I trust my friends sometimes. You know why? Because what does your enemy think about next movie coming up? I don't know the competitive space. I'm assuming there's competition with Your Name and, you know, all these other guys that are making movies, right? I'm assuming the competition, if they can find a way to have 7,500 negative reviews written on Rotten Tomatoes about a movie you come out with, I'm assuming the dirty enemy would probably do something like that to hurt you, right? Yeah. I'm assuming the enemy would do whatever they can, that I'm trying to raise $1 billion from somebody or $500 million from somebody, to find a way for that deal to not get done if it becomes public, right? I've experienced this with guys. When I was trying to sell my company, the enemy would call the guy that wanted to buy the company and say, hey, you sure you want to go through this? And then boom. We were able to get the deal done, and we sold it for $250 million, okay? But I know I trust the enemy. All I'm trying to ask, I'm not surprised that Israel did that. No. Good for them that they're doing that. I applaud you for being a good negotiator. Great. But all I'm asking is, if America, you read these books, you know, and we've all read these books. When you go through the book, the question I want to ask is, what leverage do they have for America to continue to cave when negotiating? We also want this, and that, and this. Okay. That's not how negotiation works. Like earlier we're talking about when you're signing a talent, right? Hey, I want 6 massages a day. I want my gym to be here. I want that. I want this. No. At some point, like, we're not doing that. But what leverage does this person have for you to say yes to 80% of their requests? What are we getting in exchange to say yes to this? And no matter how many people I ask that question of,
Patrick Bet-David keeps saying Israel is just good at negotiating, but that kind of dodges the real point here. This isn't just a business deal. It's about why the US always backs up Israel, even when it doesn't serve American interests. Oliver and Sean Stone are just asking the bigger questions here. What's the leverage? But Patrick Bet-David shrugs it off as Israel simply just playing the game better. That's not an answer. If it's really just negotiation, then what exactly is the US just getting in return? Because right now, it looks like the US just keeps giving and giving, while Patrick Bet-David doesn't really even explain why.
Well, I think there's a couple of factors. As I mentioned, financial. I think you do have a lot of Jewish banking. We know that. That's historical. They're deeply tied into the banking system, including to the Federal Reserve. I mean, you look at, even in Europe, the Rothschilds were the ones that got the letter from Balfour. I mean, the Rothschilds obviously are a very wealthy, influential family, right? And that's not the only one. There is the Warburgs and others that were very influential in building our Federal Reserve System here. So Schiff and all these families. So again, you're talking money, but you're also talking about a base. From strategic perspective, I think that the U.S. and British saw Israel as a base into the Arab world, which I call Israel the last Crusader, the Crusader kingdom. Because remember, as you know, historically, we fought the West Catholic Church, sent crusaders out to try to recapture Jerusalem in 1095, and they did, and then they got kicked out a couple hundred years later, right? But they never forgave that.
You know what else is hard to forgive? You watching this whole video without liking and subscribing. Go and do it right now. It really helps the channel a ton.
So I think that the Catholics and the West, psychologically and militarily and historically, actually see Israel as the Crusader kingdom that gives them a foothold into the Middle East. So this is a 1,000-year war, and that's actually also how a lot of the Arabs see it, which is why people get caught up on the Jewish thing, and they miss the point of the Arabs looking at it as the West trying to have a Crusader kingdom called Israel in the Middle East. And as we know, most of the Jews that are there are from Europe, right? They're from, whether they're Khazarian or whatnot, so they're not from that land. At least maybe they were thousands of years ago, maybe they weren't. But the point is that this is an issue in the psychology of the Arab world, the Crusades coming back to haunt them. I think that's a big issue, and people don't look at it that way because they think of it as Jewish versus Muslim, and I think it's much deeper because, as you know, the Jews and Muslims have gotten along. The Jews used to go to the Muslim countries when they were persecuted by the Catholics. When they were persecuted in Spain, the Jews and Muslims both were persecuted in Spain and kicked out, right, by Ferdinand and Isabel in 1495, right, 1492, when Columbus was sailing. They kicked the Jews and the Muslims out of Spain at that time. They kicked them out of, as you know, across Europe. Many times they purged them. They would go to Muslim countries, Jews would. And they all lived together side by side in Palestine and obviously in Turkey and other countries. So it wasn't a Jewish-Muslim thing. I think this is a West versus East thing, very much.
I don't know if I disagree with that.
Bravo.
But I think the question I ask is the leverage. What leverage should it have? Is it just money?
Well,
is it really just money?
What about
that-
AIPAC? You don't mention AIPAC.
But even if you go with that, right, and you look at how much AIPAC gives, for example, okay, and again, I'm just playing devil's advocate here to get to the bottom of the
You always
argument.
do.
Yeah, and I enjoy that. I think that's the right way to be.
And Patrick Bet-David just straight up admits that he's just playing devil's advocate here. And at this point, he's just dodging the argument. Instead of actually engaging with what Sean Stone is saying, BBD throws out what's the leverage, like Sean didn't just explain it. The answer is right there in his face. Money, lobbying, and Israel as a strategic US asset, but instead of addressing that, Patrick Bet-David acts like it's some big mystery. AIPAC has contributed over $43.5 million in the 2024 election cycle. That's not just good negotiating, that's straight up financial influence. You can't just ignore the connection between money like this and how the US foreign policy gets shaped. This isn't something to just brush off. It's a fact that deserves real attention when we're talking about leverage and power here.
But think about Elon Musk, right? Okay, so how much did AIPAC give total contribution 2024? Can you pull that up, Rob? I actually don't know the number. Total,
This is
what does that
according to
say?
Open Secrets.
So pro-Israel, is this AIPAC? 2 Republicans, they gave 2.2 million. 2 Democrats, they gave 2.2 million. Okay, so a total of 4.4 million, and they gave it to pro-Israel PAC candidates. So they give $29,000 more to Republicans than Democrats. Not a big difference. But can you tell me, look up total how much money AIPAC gave to everybody last year. Total money AIPAC gave, okay? In 2024. In 2024. Yeah, just typing in 2024. I actually just want to know, I guess you pulled the first one out. It's the same number? Mm-hmm. Really? So the number is how much? Okay, they gave 2.4 million in lobbying. The amount of contribution they got was $43 million. Okay, that's AIPAC. By the way, I thought the number was in the billions. So $43 million. Can you go type in how much Elon Musk gave Donald Trump to a PAC?
Does this include the PAC expenditures, or is PAC excluded from that?
So watch this. Elon Musk spends $277 million
Right.
to back Trump and Republican candidates. Realistically, one could say that's 50 times more, right? 55 times more. So again, for me, I really want to know.
Wait, you're ignoring the concept of influence and how long AIPAC has been around.
I don't think it's the right number you're pulling up, because I think, Rob, they spent
On PACs.
$25 million to get rid of Bowman. So that's why I don't think that's the right number.
And
they
they'll
type
say-
in how much did AIPAC spend to get rid of Bowman. Can you just Google that? Go for it.
And
there
are
you
these
go.
PACs private? I mean, we don't know the numbers on the PACs.
Well, the NGOs are the ones that we don't know who the contributors are, right? The NGOs which, okay, there it is, that one right there. AIPAC has spent over $100 million on 2024 elections. That's the number I want to see. So very bad sign for democracy. AIPAC has spent over $100 million. AIPAC billionaire-funded Super PAC has helped defeat 2 of the most vocal opponents of Israel, which one of them was, Jamal Bowman. And they spent a lot of money to get rid of that guy. How much was it to to get rid of him? Can you pull up that number? I don't know why I think it was $25 million. Could have been a little bit more than that.
Alright, so wrapping this up, Patrick Bet-David is just reaching at this point. He's just throwing out random comparisons like Elon Musk spending way more in packs. And honestly, it's like he's purposely trying to avoid the real conversation here. Oliver Stone shuts him down perfectly here, basically just saying this isn't just about numbers, it's about the influence AIPAC has been building for years. And in my opinion, Oliver really nailed it here. Sean Stone also keeps it on point, focusing on how lobbying and financial power directly shapes the US's foreign policy. Meanwhile, Patrick Bet-David keeps dodging the actual question, acting like the AIPAC's huge spending doesn't matter somehow. He even trips on his own numbers, finally admitting AIPAC did spend over $100 million, but still fails to address what that means. Anyways, if you enjoy videos like this, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment your thoughts down below. It really helps the channel a lot.